Okay, so we are at Rose Valley Park, and there's a few different trails you can take here. So there are some much steeper trails that lead up to the top, up to a lookout. And there's another one this way, but we're not going to take those trails today. We're just going to take this short, easy, early morning walk. Maybe see how some of the trees are starting to turn different colors. It's been a really strange sort of summer and autumn here. We broke lots of heat waves. People who live in the Okanagan or in BC know that. But because of that, a lot of trees and plants and all kinds of things really suffered and dropped leaves early without even turning color, or dropped their needles or whatever they have. But of course there was lots of smoke because there were lots of fires. So anyway, there's still some pretty golden leaves and trees, and it's still a beautiful place to spend time. And I often really like this shorter walk because it leads around a pond, and it's a pond where lots of birds often hang out, especially, oh, that would be a squirrel if you can hear it, especially lots of red-winged blackbirds. A lot of them hang out at this pond in the summer, and they make all kinds of, well, red-winged blackbird noises, which I think are pretty funny, and they sound like, to me, one of their calls sounds like dial-up. Oh, look, here's a nice red tree. So we are starting to see, some autumn. I think we will just see perhaps a bit less because, like I said, so many trees have already dropped their leaves. So they didn't necessarily get a chance to turn color. Oh, I hear ducks. I don't know if the camera picked that up, but I hope so. It's hard to get used to walking with this thing again, with the DJI, but I'm working on it. I need to keep working on it, so give you the first sort of glimpse of the pond over here. Oh, we can't see it too well from here, but that's okay. We're going to be walking around it. I don't know if my breathing is gonna sort of show up in this video, so I'm gonna share a few things. One of the things that I really noticed from some of my videos earlier this summer was that I could hear how labored my breathing is, even when we're not going on hikes. Like, we're just walking, we're not hiking. And hold on, I have to take a pause because I always like to stop and see the cute little moss and lichen friends. Look, that's a cute friend. Okay, as I was saying, maybe you can hear that duck swearing over there. That, yeah, my breathing was being really labored and honestly frustrating for me because I've spent the last couple of years really building up health endurance and hiking and jogging on the treadmill and all kinds of stuff. So it was really weird. I was having far less stamina take a look at the pond again. And I was having a lot of like tiredness and dizziness. And even going on a sort of what I would at this point have considered an easy walk like this, I find myself out of breath. Anyway, long story short, it turned out the reason was that because of, hang on, I'm gonna pause and look at the lake again. It's so pretty, I love the reflection. Anyway, because I have some autoimmune issues, it's fairly normal to have, for some people with autoimmune stuff, to have kind of mild to moderate anemia. And I know so many North American women, especially probably because of our diets, struggle with that anyway. So, you know, every time I would get lab work done, they would tell me, oh, you need to take an iron supplement. And so I was taking an iron supplement, just a regular, 25 milligrams or whatever comes off the counter or off the shelf, sorry, that you buy at the grocery store or the pharmacy. But because of COVID, I hadn't really been testing as frequently with the doctor like we had been every 6 months to check my inflammation levels and my iron levels and stuff. Anyway, so because of COVID, I hadn't been to the doctor in a while. And then when we finally tested, it turned out that my anemia was severe, like severe. So let's look over here. It's so nice here. Just sunrise, sun's starting to come up and be daylight. Anyway, so the level of my iron and my hemoglobin were really low. And so, I mean, probably I should have had a transfusion at that point, but again, our hospital is pretty full of people with COVID. And so anyway, the doctor put me on the highest dose of iron that you can take. You go to the pharmacist and get it, and it's in a sort of formula that is supposed to be more readily absorbable by the body. And so that's something I've been doing the last couple of months now. But I don't really think that it's working because I'm still having a lot of symptoms, including shortness of breath during times when I really shouldn't be short of breath, as well as having a lot of pica symptoms. So for me, that looks like I crave ice, like I eat ice so often, which is so bad for my teeth. But that's not something that I normally do. So it's an unusual thing for me, but it's been happening again this last week or so. So anyway, I had some lab work yesterday, and then I will find out the results next week. And I don't know what that will look like. Perhaps if it's still really low or just not climbing at all, then I'll have to look at having transfusions, which frankly at this point I would pretty much welcome, because my understanding is that often people feel like almost immediately better after having them. So that would be something that I would really look forward to. Anyway, in conjunction with the anemia, I don't know if they're really related or what the situation is, but I can't imagine having low hemoglobin is good for blood pressure, but my blood pressure is normally normal. And so I don't have to take medication for that or anything. But I've been having what is called vasovagal syncope. And probably we've all we've all seen what that looks like because people make funny videos about it. Hold on, I have to pause. Look, someone has a little cache of pine cones. That's so sweet. I've cut off the trail now, and I'm actually cutting through the bush around the pond because I just like to do that. These are the reeds where often the red-winged blackbirds are all hanging out. Not so much right now. This time of year, I don't really know where they go, but definitely in the spring and summer, they're out here and they're noisy as heck, and I kind of enjoy it. But anyway, so hopefully the DJI does a good job here because the ground is really uneven and I have to walk slowly so that I can hold this up and also not trip and break my ankle. But anyway, so you've all seen probably what vasovagal syncope looks like because, you know, when you see videos of like people that are standing up at weddings, like the groomsmen or whoever, and they just pass over and fall out or fall over and pass out. Okay, words. It's early in the morning. Anyway, so it's that, except for me, the triggers seem to be standing and pain. And frankly, I don't really know what to do to not be in pain because I have chronic pain issues. I also have fibromyalgia and I take neurological medication for that, but I don't take any like pain medication, like derivatives of opioids or anything like that, because frankly, I can't do that and maintain my career. Frankly, I would be a stoned, drooling mess in front of a classroom of college students. So I don't do that. Anyway, so I have had a couple of episodes at work where I'm standing in front of a class teaching and I've had to like sit down really quickly, and then I've also had to get on the floor and put my head between my legs so that I don't lose consciousness because I can fortunately feel the symptoms happening before they happen. So yeah, that's just something I've been working on, and I don't really know what that looks like long term because I don't know if my hemoglobin's low and my pain levels are high, then I'm not really sure how to control that symptom. You know, I'm doing the best I can by alternating sitting and standing when I'm teaching, and fortunately I don't have it when I am walking because of course my blood pressure isn't dropping because of movement, but it would be pretty distracting if I were like jogging circles around my classrooms at college. So anyway, that's just some of why you might notice in this video or previous videos, sometimes even when I'm just walking, we're not like hiking up a hill or anything, my breathing sounds sort of labored. But anyway, I've been stopped here long enough. But I wanted to show you this. Look, I love the plants that grow out here. It's fairly dry right now, well, because all of the Okanagan is dry. But in the spring, even the parts that, you know, we can walk on here are really boggy and marshy, and they have lots of water. But yeah, I love these plants. So anyway, I still am trying to work on just being well and taking care of myself and still, you know, maintaining my career and all of that good stuff. I will make one request of people, and that's that I know I'm sharing this, I mean, kind of randomly, but I talk about disability and sometimes how I'm feeling on Facebook, and I don't necessarily share all the details of my diagnosis or what's going on for me, and I don't mean that to be vague or anything. So I'm just sharing, but I will make a request, and that is that I know that people often, as a way of wishing well or wanting to help, will make suggestions. You know, have you tried this supplement? Have you tried this diet? Have you tried this exercise? And I just want to ask that you please not do that. Not because, again, I understand that you have well-intentioned good wishes, but I promise I've heard of it. I've tried it. I'm also at a place where I am getting frustrated with the sort of whole movement or idea that food is medicine or this or that. Like, obviously, eating nutritional food is really important, but food is also other things, and medicine is medicine. And again, I'm not trying to put down or discredit any knowledge of other people, other cultures. I definitely think that things like diet and supplements and movement and activity are absolutely supplemental. But, you know, when I think about how my neurological medication works, it doesn't matter what diet I eat or what activity I do or don't do. I can't produce those effects just by diet alone or activity alone. And frankly, I should be taking a higher dose of the medication that I take. But I can't because it causes some other issues actually with the lipedema in my legs, which is quite severe. It's like stage 3 at this point, and stage 4 is kind of the worst it can be. So anyway, I appreciate that people have well-intentioned information that they like to share about what worked for them or what might work, but you know, I see a couple of medical professionals for this. I take supplements of various kinds for vitamins and minerals and even some things that are supposed to help with inflammation, which I get a lot of. So yeah, I am, you know, an intelligent enough person, I suppose. And I have been really working on being active and taking care of myself physically, mentally. And so just please trust that I know all the things that are said to help, and I've tried some of them or all of them or whatever the case may be. But I have to stop again and show you there's some leaves here that are so red. And whatever type of plant this is, there's a bit of it in our backyard, and I love it in the fall. Like, it's so vibrant. So I should show you that we're kind of, you know, there's kind of a path here, but mostly it's really uneven, and that's why I'm walking slowly. And even at this slow walking pace, I am feeling out of breath. And frankly, I don't even have to be doing any real activity for that to happen with all the stuff that's going on. Last week, I put a load of laundry in the washing machine, and I was breathing as heavily as I do when I put in 45 minutes on the treadmill. So, you know, it's just some random bullshit, basically. But yeah, I've had a few people asking about this, and I've sort of been talking to a few people behind the scenes, but I don't want people to think that I'm being vague or just trying to keep anything from anyone, because frankly, I do talk about disability on Facebook. I talk about disability in my real world, in my job. about work. I, teach students about working with people with disability and with mental health issues or mental illness. So yeah, I thought I guess I would share today, triggered by the fact that I am clearly out of breath just from walking this little way, which, it does, I have a lot of feelings about it. I have a lot of grief about it because last year I had so much stamina, for me anyway, and I was, hiking pretty steep inclines and longer hikes, and even this spring, Neil and I went on a hike that was, I don't know, it was between 3 or 4 hours. I filmed some footage. In fact, it was the first footage I filmed with the DJI. And during that, I remember listening to myself, hearing myself back on the video as I was editing, and realizing I have to duck under this tree. Realizing how out of breath I sounded. And I was like, what? Like, this is so weird. Why do I sound like this? Is that how I always sound? Because I definitely could feel that I was more out of breath. Ooh, we have to stop for a second. Just look at all the lovely rushes here. They're so pretty. You can hear a bird in the tree chittering away at us. So anyway, that's... Oh, I got a tough part to navigate here. Sorry, I don't know where the camera's pointing, but gotta watch my footing for a minute. Okay. Yeah, so that's just some of what's been going on and why I really haven't been filming as many videos lately. Because we haven't been out hiking nearly as much as we would have last year, for sure. Part of that has been the smoke, but the last few weeks we've been living smoke-free, which is nice. So we can get out more, and it's cooler. But it doesn't change that my breathing still sucks. It's just a symptom of low hemoglobin, low iron, severe anemia. So, yeah. Sorry for the truck noise. We've got the road on one side of us now. That we're on the other side of the pond. But yeah, I plan to continue making videos when I'm feeling able to do that, when that's something enjoyable for me. Bless you. Seasonal allergies are fun too, which Neil and I both seem to deal with since living in the Okanagan, but that's okay. So, yeah, I hope to keep making videos and just do so at my own pace, even if they're not always hiking videos. Part of it is that I have to learn to stop fighting my body all the time, quite frankly. I have a lot of my own internalized fat phobia. So when I can't do something physically, my first default is this is because I'm fat. But you know what? Last year, dang, I was able to put in so much time on the treadmill, make what were for me pretty intense hikes, at least 4 to 5 days a week. Honestly, I was slaying it. And I'm not there this year. And I don't feel good about it, but I don't know. I'm trying to be patient with my body, because honestly, being hard on myself about any of this doesn't help. And also, I'm really starting to get over this fat phobia stuff. I've been pretty active at pretty high weights or levels of fatness, or whatever your preferred term is. But I also have to recognize that I have a couple of disabilities, and I'm just kind of dealing with some grieving process around that. Like what that means for my career, for my physical self. But I'm working on it. I had a couple pretty down weeks about it. But I'm in a pretty okay place now, so. Sorry for the car noise. So yeah, some of my feelings have been that if I have to think about how this impacts my career or what changes I need to make, maybe it looks like doing something different than I do now in the future. I don't know how near that future is, but at first I was having a lot of grief about it. I put 20 years, a couple of degrees, lots of time, passion, and money into what I do, and I love what I do. I love teaching. And so it feels difficult to think I may have to leave that in this form. Look, it's nice and yellow here. But now that I've had some time to think about it and just reflect and sort of deal with my own headspace about things, doesn't help. It doesn't help to think things through when you're also physically suffering. So anyway, I'm just kind of in a space of, I guess, gratitude. Like even if I have to leave my career sooner than I ever expected to, then I'm also really lucky, because instead of thinking disability is potentially ending my career, I've had to kind of reframe and put in perspective that lots of people with disabilities don't get to have the careers that they wanted or felt passionate about, or whatever that looks like. And so I am pretty grateful that I've had 20 years doing something that I really love, that has been really rewarding. There's a car again. I'll just show you this red tree up there. I don't know if it stands out for its redness, but it sure is pretty. Oh, we got some noisy squirrels again, and birds rustling in the bushes here. Anyway, so just a walk today, and I guess what was on my mind. And we're back at the parking lot, so I'm going to end this here and say I hope you all have a great day.